Stai lontana da sto cuore, cade volo tuo pensiero, niente voglio, niente spero, niente sempre a fianco a me. Sii sicura che st'amore, come so sicura lei, vita mia, oh il cuore, questo cuore, sei stata un primo amore, un primo ed ultimo sarai per me.
من خیال نداشتم این داستان رو به عنوان فیلم کار بکنم. یادمه که وقتی جولیت تهران بود، مهمون من بود، یک روز این داستان رو براش تعریف کردم، این داستان واقعی که چه باعثی البته به اونچه که شما توی فیلم میبینی نداره. و وقتی که داستان تموم شد، اون به نظرش رسید که این چقدر مناسبه برای فیلم. تا اون موقع هیچ وقت من به عنوان اینکه این قابلیت اینکه به یه فیلم تبدیل بشه رو نداشتم. فیلمنامه رو بیشتر برای جولیت و بر اساس جولیت نوشتم.
You want to take a simple evidence, so he's not have time to, so he's sitting, and you take your jacket out of frame.
First, when I came to Iran, one night he told me the story of this woman in Italy and this writer. He said it was his story that happened to him. And it took him about 45 minutes telling in perfect English about details, you know, about the story. So what Abbas is saying about how things came about, or, you know, that he wrote for me, or he already lived this, or he invented it, or it came out of our imagination or our presence together, it's very hard to say, because everything's true, and everything is invented, of course.
شروع فیلم رو دوست دارم به دلیل اینکه کاملا غیر سینماییه، یک سکانس طولانی، پرحرف، حرفه‌ای که فکر میکنم در 6-7 دقیقه اول بسیاری از تماشاگران فیلم رو ممکنه ناراضی بکنه از اینکه چرا اومدن به دیدن این فیلم، برای اینکه خیلی تخصصی شروع میشه و آدم نمیتونه حدس بزنه که فیلم بعد از 6 دقیقه وارد یه فضای دیگه میشه.
Scusate signori per le tecniche, vi prego di chiederle dopo alla fine della conferenza. Prego James. Devo presentare James, ma James è qui, credo che nessuno possa presentarsi meglio di lui stesso. Prego.
Buongiorno. I wouldn't be here if I didn't have a great deal of confidence in his approach and obviously in his skill in this business. I am a complete novice. It would be foolish of me to come in and tell him how to do his job, and I expect him to tell me how to do mine. In opera, the emotions are expressed in the music and in basically, because people can't really see your expression, you are using your body to convey the emotions and the sound of your voice, as well as the text and the music. First of all, you have a big distance between you and your public. And the public is live, you know, they are there, you do the performance, and it's gone forever.
It's far more difficult than I anticipated.
Whereas Cinemarca, you can play it again and again and again. But of course, on top of that, it's very intimate. You are looking into people's minds, not watching them at a distance. And you communicate by transferring your your thoughts to the public who are watching the film.
But not bad, a little bit moving, little bit. Maybe you need him to introduce you once more. You need... Okay.
Questa avventura per me è cominciata un paio d'anni fa, quando mi ha telefonato Charles Gilibert, che è il produttore delegato di MK2 su questo progetto, e mi ha detto che MK2 stava montando un film di Abbas Kiarostami con Juliette Binoche da girare in Italia, Copia Conforme. Che è veramente un film coinvolgente, curioso, interessante, diverso.
It goes almost without saying that art is not an easy subject to write about.
Lavorare con Abbas è stata una delle esperienze più strabilianti e sconvolgenti di tutta la mia vita cinematografica, nel senso che mai come questa volta ho capito quanto complesso sia fare questo lavoro, questa estrema complessità nella costruzione dell'immagine, nell'attenzione per i particolari, nella geometria delle inquadrature, nella geometria delle forme, paradossalmente poi si traduce in una semplicità visiva straordinaria ed estrema.
That's true. It's nothing unusual.
On stage.
La capacità di mettere in discussione qualunque decisione in qualunque momento, anche nel momento estremo, e l'apparente incomprensibilità di alcune scelte che si sono rivelate invece perennemente corrette. Cioè io quante volte ho pensato che cosa ci sta facendo fare e quante volte mi sono detto alla fine non è che aveva ragione, di più, era assolutamente la scelta perfetta. Ecco, questo ribaltamento totale di tutto quello che credevo possibile, realizzabile, giusto, corretto, questo stravolgimento di ogni regola continuo, perenne, questo credo mi creerà alcuni enormi problemi nel resto della mia vita, perché dopo questa esperienza non c'è più ritorno.
At the beginning with Luca, Luca was the DP, the cameraman, and I think at the beginning he didn't understand anything we were doing. He was frustrating because he wanted to do his way. And I remember him saying there was a shot in a car, and he said, well, Abbas never listens to me. And at the end of the movie, I asked him, do you feel the same? And I said, oh no, I can't imagine making another film, without Abbas. Because it was such a joy to suddenly understand his way of looking at things, his understanding of equilibrium, with the tapes in the middle of the eyes, not cutting limbs. It made so much sense to him that I was so moved he could say at the end, am I going to do without him?
One might take this idea to its extreme and draw parallels between the reproduction.
تفاهم زیادی احساس می‌کردم بخصوص با فیلمبردار که مهمترین عضو گروهه و به همین دلیل خب روزهای اولی کمی با سوء تفاهم به هم دیگه نگاه می‌کردیم. یه علامت سوالی بینمون بود که آیا همدیگه رو میشناسیم، همدیگه رو میفهمیم. اما بعد از هفته اول به نظرم همه چیز به بهترین شکلی حل شد و فکر میکردم من سالها و سالهاست دارم با لوکا کار میکنم. کاملا اعتماد دو طرفه جلب شده بود و من میتونم بگم این فیلم بی تشویش ترین فیلمی بود که من کار کردم.
Abbiamo fatto delle lunghe macchine a mano in questo film, ma non è il peso della macchina, è la fatica e la concentrazione continua che Abbas richiede a chi lavora con lui. Questo è molto più pesante della macchina da presa. Io credo che mai come in questo film ho sofferto della sensazione continua di non essere all'altezza di quello che mi veniva richiesto. È stato probabilmente, anzi sicuramente, il film più difficile che io abbia mai pensato di poter fare. E che tutto questo poi si riduca invece, fortunatamente, in un'elementare e geometrica semplicità è la cosa che proprio più mi fa capire quanto questo sia il metodo corretto di lavoro.
Yeah. And go not very fast, but you know where you want to go. You don't look nothing, but he is looking around. You don't look. Just go straight to him.
I don't think Abbas has one way of working, as I don't think I have one way of working. You adapt yourself with the story, the circumstances, the place, the people you're working with. So I'm sure if we do another film together with Abbas, it'll be different.
Interesting enough, but nothing new.
That's your theory, painting.
Yes. Stop!
But what I felt was the frame, the visual is the inspiration for him. He knows when it's right, when the visual is there. And that's pretty new, you know, for me. I don't think I've noticed that as much as with him. But he likes to be surprised by what's happening. I mean, several times at the end of the shooting, at the end of the shot, he was like, I've never imagined that this scene could be like this. Or I would react like that. So it's been like a learning process for him.
For your theory. Oh.
Yes, but there are examples everywhere. At some point,
I learned a lot working with Abbas. I learned a lot about making a film, about directing a film, and I learned a lot about sound, about style of sound. So when we talked with Abbas before the shooting in preparation, he told me two things who were very important for me. One was that he feels the voice are the characters in a film. And that the location was also very important. So we worked with a very kind of live production sound, which means as I was working, so this is a bit technical, but as I was working with a multi-track recorder, I could put microphones on the extras and send it on separate tracks so that Abbas will have control at the mixing stage. Partito.
È stato molto diverso dal solito il lavoro con Abbas, che ha un approccio, un modo di lavorare che ha sorpreso un po' tutti, nel senso che noi siamo abituati in Italia a fare un lavoro di preparazione e l'uso del tempo sul set è un uso del tempo un po' forsennato, cioè c'è una corsa contro il tempo per riuscire ogni giorno a fare il programma che era stato previsto, che di solito è composto da tante inquadrature, anche se poi magari i minuti di montato che escono fuori da quella giornata sono pochi. Ecco, invece lui ha un modo di girare per cui in poco tempo riesce a girare molti minuti di montato, però per arrivare a quel risultato ha bisogno di continuare il suo lavoro di ricerca, di approfondimento sul set, durante le riprese.
فیلمنامه‌ای که در خلوت می‌نویسم همیشه پروو می‌کنم به تن بازیگرام و اگر کلمه‌ای در ذهن بازیگرم، در دهان بازیگرم نچرخه، ازش میخوام که اونو تغییر بده و متناسب با محیط و پرسوناژام همه چیزها رو میتونم عوض بکنم جز خطوط اصلی فیلمنامه رو بهش وفادارم، اما جزئیات رو به راحتی تغییر میدم و همین دلیل هم یکی از مشکلاتی که من روزهای اول برای تیم فیلمبرداری ایجاد کرده بودم، یادم همین تغییراتی بود که روز به روز انجام میدادم، به خصوص برای بازیگرا که دیالوگا رو حفظ کرده بودن و خیلی دشوار بود که اونا رو تبدیل کنم به یه دیالوگ دیگه، اما این کار رو ناچار بودیم انجام بدیم و اونها با صبوری بسیار آروم آروم پذیرفتن همشون.
I think the character has developed as we've been doing the film, the script itself doesn't tell a great deal about the character. It's more to do with the way that it develops and the way that James reacts to Juliet's character.
It was curious. Every morning as I got out of my shower, I'd see the same woman walking down the street opposite my window. And every morning she'd stop at the corner by the hotel, just down there. And she'd turn and she'd look back up the street. And she'd carry on looking until she saw a little boy who must have been about.
Moving.
I didn't hear that.
Moving.
بگو تکون نمیخوری با سیخ وایسادی برمیگردیم اول
You've got to take the space, not put it on the camera. You've got to take the space without the camera.
بازی‌ها به نظرم همشون خوبه. باورم نمیشد که ویلیام بتونه که از پس این نقش بر بیاد. خودش هم میگفت من نمیتونم بازی کنم. روزای اول یادمه در یه جاهایی حتی میگفت من این همه مطلب رو نمیتونم تو حافظه‌ام بسپرم. ولی نهایتاً وقتی فیلم تموم شد حتی از جولیت سوال کردم که دلت میخواست حالا به جای ویلیام چه کسی در فیلم بود؟ گفت خود ویلیام.
You know when Juliet, we did the first take yesterday, she started to break down much sooner. Do you want me to react as though
You have to follow just yourself and then in editing room.
All right, okay. Yeah, okay.
It was very good. Very good.
We had to learn like so many pages, and I remember one especially. And Abbas, you know, I knew the text as well, so we continued shooting forever. And it was all improvised because we started the first take not rehearsing completely the whole scene. It was surprising, and William was like, "How far are we going to go?" You know, but he knew the script entirely by heart.
Non, t'as pas besoin de jouer, mon chéri. Non, mais la patronne, là, elle disait quoi? Elle disait que dans la vie, il fallait choisir les bonnes choses, sauf pour les maris. Ce qui compte dans la vie, c'est d'avoir un mari. Bon, mauvais, il fait l'affaire. Mais toi, en tant que mauvais mari, quand est-ce que... Attends, toi, en tant que mauvais mari... Même comme mauvais... Hein? Même comme mauvais mari, il faut que tu sois là de temps en temps. Oui, mais toi, comme mauvais mari, il faut quand même que tu sois là de temps en temps.
Oh, shit.
And that was hard for him to understand that acting is not about learning lines. You remember text because of underneath, what's going on underneath. The memory is an emotional memory, it's a sensational memory, it's not an intellectual memory. And it was interesting as a character for himself, you know, William is kind of more rational, more intellectual, a writer that likes to, because there's some writers that are not intellectuals in the way that they're related to the body, they're related to the heart. But some writers, they stick on the head and, you know, ignore the body, ignore what makes it function in a way. And I think William's character is a little like that. He divides body with his intellectual side. As her, I think somehow she's more related. That's why the emotions come up. That's why the need is more apparent, because somehow she can relate to a hidden side.
I don't know whether I'm going to be successful, but I have been trying to relate the things that are happening to him to things that have happened to me in my own life. I think they call it method acting. I think my own method of acting is halfway between method and traditional. I can bring some of the disciplines of classical music and a very sort of controlled environment that opera is to my way of trying to convey the character. As to who James is or what I know about him, I don't know. I think that's up to the people who see the film to make up their own minds about.
what you understand in a film belongs to yourself. And what you understand sometimes is beyond your comprehension. Because I think a film has to come close to your skin. It has to transform you without you almost noticing it. It comes with a silence, it comes with a way of hearing, just a tone of the voice or a gesture that is beyond comprehension, that is beyond mental capacity. Because I think what's interesting in film is not what's been said or what's been shown or how, the arch, people want to, for the spectator to go somewhere. I think it needs to have unanswered questions so people can think for themselves and feel for themselves. That's where film interests me. That's where art interests me. For me, this is a possibility of a relationship, and yet they're both trying to understand each other and trying to look for this relationship. They're not sure of what kind of relationship they're in. Wife, husband, friends, strangers, artists, intellectuals, angry people together. It's very, or needy in different ways. You don't know. But you just pick up some moments where you say, I recognize something here.
Una foto. È il nostro matrimonio. Su. Grazie.
ایده که در ذهنم بود از اول که ما خیلی هم بی‌اعتبار ندونیم کپیا رو. این کپیان که ما رو یه جوری راهنمایی میکنن به طرف اصل، بنابراین خیلی هم بی‌اعتبار نیستن. اگر کپی وجود نداشت ما اصل رو اونقدر اپریشیت نمی کردیم. این همه کپی هایی که از مونالیزا در تمام دنیا چاپ شده این اعتبار رو تضمین کرده که وقتی ما مقابل یه اصل وای میسیم انقدر با احترام و با حیرت و با تحسین بهش نگاه کنیم.
There were several magical moments, but there's one I remember. I'm not sure it's in the movie, actually. That's when the moment, which is the key moment of this turning point, where when he comes back from the phone, she's saying to him, she thought we were married, blah, 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 and he's kind of playing with her, it'd be lovely, huh? And she's asking a question that's not that important, and he's turning to her and saying, what shall I answer back?
That was in those days. It's okay, go on.
And for me, the key is that he's not taking responsibility of his feelings, of what he wants to say, whether he wants to be in the picture of being married with her or out. And she gets so disappointed, so hurt. That's when she loses track of herself somehow. That moment, I remember I kind of laughed and cried together, like almost a cough, a vomit cough feeling. And that came, I think, after a few takes. And at the end, I think that was the last one, Abbas said, finished. It's so surprising, it's so strong. I'll edit tonight and see if it works, and we'll see whether we go back to that scene. And at the end, when I saw the movie 3 days after we stopped shooting, because it was editing, so the film was already cut 3 days after the last day of shooting, was just amazing. I've never seen that before. He didn't put that scene in. He didn't put that moment. That, for me, that was the miracle.
My family live their lives and I live mine. They speak their language and I speak mine. Makes sense, doesn't it?
Yes, it makes a lot of sense. A lot of sense.
Ma cosa le ha detto per farla arrabbiare così?
Ho detto che la mia famiglia vive la propria vita e io la mia. Perché loro parlano la loro lingua ed io la mia.
Ma come non parla bene l'italiano?
Ma no,
È scritto così nella sceneggiatura, io l'ho imparato. Scusate.
I enjoyed the scene in the restaurant because I've never lost my temper and I've never shouted at a woman in my life. And we did 3 takes, so I got 3 opportunities to shout at Juliet.
I apologize. I apologize for last night. I apologize for 5 years ago. I apologize for the restaurant, for the wine, for the waiter. I apologize for the last 15 years. I apologize for my existence.
I believe that the magic in a movie is that when you gather all those different elements, it can be the written scene, it can be the table you chose, it can be the actor you chose, the cup you chose, it can be the window, all those circumstances and things you haven't chosen, you haven't thought about. It's the meeting of all those circumstances that make a scene very particular. And I have to say that after moving to 11 countries and moving on stage in, up and down, and that suddenly when I shot once, there was moments I felt like I was dancing, but not outside, inside. Because I had to be so still, physically. There was the tape on the camera that was very close to the lens, because I was not looking at him, the actor, William. I was looking at inside of the camera, as he had to look inside of the camera. I thought it was fantastic for him that he's never been an actor in movies, that he could do that. He can use his imagination, thinking, he's looking at me on the tape. But I remember specifically some shots I felt I went up and down, I went right and left, upside. All those movement I experienced in my body, I experienced them emotionally. It was really like a meditation. And I remember Abbas said to me, okay, you don't do it. You don't act for money. You don't act for fame. So why do you act? And I said, because what I go through as an explorer of the soul gives me so much joy, because it's like really entering a world that I'm discovering as I'm doing it. And it has to do with knowledge, but letting go of knowledge, because as I'm doing it, it's happening.
Go a little bit to the left.
Left?
Yeah. No, more. No, this is too much. Go back again. Go back. Yeah. Here.
You mean,
okay,
yeah.
Come little by little.
Yeah.
Inside.
Well,
Come. No. More. A little bit more. Okay. Even more.
More what?
احساس می‌کردم جولیت تبدیل شده بود به یکی از آدمای غیر حرفه‌ای در فیلم و به شدت علاقه نشون میداد و به شدت در این حال که بازی حرفه‌ای جلوی دوربین ارائه می‌کرد، اما در این حال هم به نظر میاد که هیچ قرارداد دیگه‌ای نداره، هیچ کار دیگه‌ای نداره و اساساً جلوی دوربین من تبدیل یعنی نشده بود یه استار، شده بود یک آدم معمولی با تمام اون توانایی‌هایی که داره. This is completely for the cinema. You understand what I mean? Because it never be as a job. حتی میتونم بگم از همه فیلمام راحت‌تر بودم، برای اینکه از ویژگی‌های حرفه‌ایش استفاده کردم. خب تمام تجربیات حرفه‌ای رو داشت، به اضافه اینکه در فیلم با هماهنگی که داشت با فیلمنامه، با من و با سایر گروه، کار رو به سادگی پیش برد و میتونم بگم تجربه استثنایی و لذت بخشی بود برای من. Welcome to my home.
Oh, thank you.
This is your bathroom.
This is my bathroom. Yeah.
the scene with the lipstick. First of all, we shoot in Abbas's room and in his space. So it felt a little intimate in a way, which was funny, a little wicked, because directors, they like to mix things up as well as actors, because we have to feel it from the skin, within the skin.
I have nothing to tell you. In this case, it's very private.
Not for me.
Actually, it was a difficult scene to shoot in a way, because I couldn't have a reference, because I couldn't watch myself in the mirror. I could watch myself in the camera, but it was kind of blurry and far away, and so I had to put the lipstick on my lips without knowing where my lips were.
Juliette, tu veux changer de rôle, il demande? Ben oui, je vais mettre un truc carrément fort. Je dirais le message.
Allez, trouve.
Oui, on essaye.
Si, si.
Et si tu trouves que, you think it's too much, then we change.
Okay.
He actually said something like, I want to see how you look at yourself in the mirror, you know, being nude, you know. And actually I said, well, no, actually I'm covering up myself with the lipstick and with the makeup. So actually for me, it's not being nude, it's hiding myself. But I understood what he meant, is that how you arrange yourself. So how parts of yourself you don't like and you want to hide with makeup. That's, and you see the nudity of what you're feeling about yourself. And at the same time, it's a scene that we shot like so many days after. It was in the middle of the scene, actually. So this scene had to be related to something we hadn't shot. It's always a little difficult, of course, because you want to be fair to the feeling of it, you know. How do I come out of this scene and how do I go back to it?
It takes too much time when you change your hair, because it's better not to do it.
Okay. So I don't
Just to, no. It is shorter and you have more time to do everything in the right way.
Also, what was fascinating for me was that Abbas is editing while shooting, and so precise about, you know, an entrance in a frame or apartments when you leave a frame, how you leave it, and that the rhythm has to be the same, otherwise you don't believe in the continuity in the characters' stories, and it's so detailed in his way of doing that it was really wonderful to see.
Pronti. Motore.
Partito. 17/1
Attende Giulietta un pochino più fuori. Là, ok. Buono.
E azione.
دوست دارم وقتی که جولیت مقابل آینه وایساده و داره خودش رو آرایش میکنه و تو بک‌گراندش یاده‌ای رد میشن، این به عنوان یه پلان مجرد، پلانی است که من دوستش دارم. پلان آخر رو که باز شباهتی به این پلان داره، وقتی ویلیام جلو آینه ایستاده، اون رو دوست دارم، باز نه به دلیل اینکه مجرده، یه پلان مجردیه، برای اینکه یادآور پلان جولیت هم هست وقتی داشت خودش رو میساخت، البته با دو تا حس گوناگون.
Ogni inquadratura, ogni luogo dove abbiamo girato presentavano delle complessità legate allo spazio, alla possibilità di illuminazione, alla possibilità di posizionamento della macchina da presa, nel senso che erano ambienti o piccoli o grossi o pieni di riflessi o con un continuo rapporto tra l'interno e l'esterno, con degli specchi, con dei vetri, con delle riflessioni. Cioè ogni luogo era un luogo che portava con sé paradossalmente anche un'unica possibilità di illuminazione. Probabilmente lui sapeva che l'unico posto dove si poteva mettere la luce era quello, ed anche per quello sceglieva un determinato luogo in rapporto alla difficoltà e alla unicità della inquadratura possibile, dell'illuminazione possibile.
So it's better to have when the car is coming from here, yes, they can leave. چیز بیشتری که میخوام بگم باز در مورد یک هماهنگی فوق‌العاده با لوکا بود. لوکایی که من قبلا نمیشناختمش اصلا. خب بعدها که با کسایی صحبت کردم فهمیدم که اگر نه با یکی از بهترین های سینمای امروز کار کردم. چیزی که میخوام بگم راجع به تخصصش نیست که تخصصشو شما در شیوه کار کردنش و دوربین روی دستش و روی فیلم میتونید کاملا ببینید. اون چه که پیدا نیست میزان انعطاف و تولرانسی است که این آدم نشون میداد در طول فیلم برداری. یعنی خب به هر حال اون که من پیشنهاد میکردم چیزایی نبود که خیلی رایج باشه توی سینما، ولی فوق‌العاده بی‌غرور، باهوش و پر از انعطاف بود در طول کار کردن. هر وقت پیشنهادی میکردم گاهی میگفتش که این دفعه رو درست میگی ولی فکر نکن که همیشه حق با توه. میگفتم اصلا مسئله حق بودن با من یا با تو نیست، let's see، بریم نگاه کنیم ببینیم که چی میشه یا نه. ولی بعد از هفته دوم اگه چیزی رو به نظرم در فیلم خوبه، بخش عمده‌ایش مربوط میشه به این نوع هماهنگی که من و لوکا پیدا کردیم راجع به لتسی. هیچ چیزی قطعی نبود، فقط انجام میدادیم ببینیم میشه یا نه و این امکانی بود که دوربین دیجیتال هم به ما میداد. به هر حال این میتونم بگم که در مجموعه کاری که کردم فوق‌العاده بود. حضور نمیخوام واقعا بگم که یکی یکی روابط عمومی کنم و بگم که، ولی حضور تهیه کننده ایتالیایی هم در فیلم فوق‌العاده دلگرم کننده بود. یک کودکی در طول فیلم داشت که به نظرم مثل بچه‌هایی که هر روز جمع میشیم سر یه صحنه قرار بازی کنیم بدون هیچ نوع نگرانی راجع به زمان. بارباگالو بود، برای اینکه اصلا فیلم با اون شروع شد و در همون پلان اول با حضور بازی غیر بازی فوق‌العاده‌اش یک نوع دلگرمی داد به من که در طول فیلم موند و امیدوارم این فرصت باشه که دوباره باش کار کنم. This is ordinary or yeah, this is the ordinary music.
Yes.
Okay.
This is the ordinary music.
And everybody knows that? It's very famous?
No, it's like music for the village.
Okay, that's fine.
Fine. The second one?
The first one, I think.
The first one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ogni volta che avevo cercato di scardinare la sequenza della sceneggiatura girando magari una cosa prima e una cosa dopo, ho sentito che Abbas di questo soffriva, perché ad ogni inquadratura corrisponde uno stato d'animo che porta alla successiva, così come ad ogni angolo corrisponde l'angolo dell'inquadratura successiva. Io credo di non aver girato nessun ambiente nello stesso ambiente, nel senso ogni ambiente è composto paradossalmente di altri 2 o 3 ambienti, nel senso che una stanza è composta da 3 stanze diverse assemblate insieme, quindi è estremamente difficile immaginare come si potrebbe altrimenti girare non sequenzialmente questo film, proprio per la estrema frammentazione della messa in scena.
Évidemment, elle peut poser son épaule, il la protège, c'est pour ça qu'il a rejoint l'éternité. Je sais très bien ce que je dis, c'est toi qui te dérobes, qui ne réponds pas à mes questions.
Je n'ai pas besoin de répondre, c'est complètement stupide.
Alors, ton livre aussi.
When I read the script and when rehearsing, we rehearsed it for about 2 weeks before shooting. And my character is supposed to love the statue, to love the woman putting her head on man's shoulder and feeling protected and feeling being taken care of. And I wanted to be really a woman because she had this kind of protection. And I felt, yeah, I think I can relate to that. When actually I went on the square and Abbas said, come, there's a statue, you know, it's sort of excitement that the statue he thought about, he'd kind of draw or he described was happening. When I arrived at the square, he was not around. And I suddenly felt so betrayed. It was like a slap in the face because actually the woman was behind the man, kind of hiding and, you know, he had big shoulders like the male, you know, in front with the torso, you know, so happy with himself. And she's like this behind but I didn't see this protection. I thought that was the prehistorical protection that we don't need anymore. Hello? This is over. Then she can say, I love
The shoulder, the head on the shoulder. It doesn't say that. The story.
در یک پوزیشنیه که میتونه همون موقع برداشته باشه یا میتونه بذاره. پیداست دور از اون نیست. وقتی که بازوش دستشه شونش هم به احتیاج پیداست که یه واحدن.
I see the man like this, and I see the woman like that.
First of all, I thought it's impossible for me to play me loving this statue because it doesn't make sense. And of course you believe that your character is playing. It didn't make sense to me. And he didn't understand. He said, why are you so angry with me? Why? He didn't understand. He's protecting her. I said, but she's behind. There's no way a woman should be behind. She should be with. It has to be a circle between men and women. When we shot the scene, he was embarrassed because he couldn't shoot the statue, whether the peeing was going badly, because the angel was supposed to throw some water out of the mouth or, throw the water on this man. But actually, it didn't drop well, so it was like the man was peeing. So circumstances made it not possible. So we don't see the statue.
On va aller près de la statue, puis tu vas me parler de sa valeur, d'accord?
J'ai absolument rien à dire de sa valeur. C'est toi qui penses que c'est un chef-d'œuvre éternel.
Oui, justement, je vais te montrer pourquoi. On va lui demander à des gens là, qui a un cellulaire là. Viens, on va leur demander, viens.
فکر میکنم باید یه نشانه‌هایی از فیلم‌های قبلی من هم در این فیلم دیده بشه. اون چه مسلمه فکر میکنم به لحاظ روابط انسانی هیچ تفاوتی با فیلم فرض کنیم گزارش یا زیر درختان زیتون یا حتی فیلم‌های دیگه هم که الان تو حافظم نداره به دلیل اینکه به هر حال از یه موجود میاد بیرون، از یه سازنده میاد بیرون. باید شبیه باشه در این عالم که خب یه جایی شبیه نیست، برای اینکه آدمای شهری بودن، زبانشون زبان فرهنگی بود. من معمولا در روستاها کار میکنم با بازیگرای غیر حرفه‌ای، بنابراین اینها حتما تونستن که یک تأثیر متفاوتی با حضور خودشون جلوی دوربین روی فیلم من داشته باشن که این رو به هر حال من نباید قضاوت کنم.
It felt like heaven for me. It's like, I really believe in Tuscany there are miracles. There are lots of saints, lots of oils, lots of different colors, greens, but I have to say that I felt like in a family. I didn't know everybody's name, but for me it was more about being with them. It's a heart family, so it felt like very much at home.
C'est tout ce que vous avez à dire.
Je suis très contente parce que je suis très contente.
C'est une très bonne raison. C'est une très bonne raison. Merci pour l'interview. Merci.
فیلمی است که در ایتالیا فیلم برداری شده و امیدوارم آخریش نباشه. میگن هر دوی قطعا سومی خواهد داشت، بنابراین منتظر فیلم سوم هستم که در ایتالیا کار بکنم. ایتالیا رو دوست دارم بدون هیچ تعارفی، بدون اینکه هیچ نوع قصد تشکر از میزبان داشته باشم. قبل از اینکه فیلمساز باشم هم یادمه که ایتالیا برای من متفاوت بود به دلیل فضاش، به دلیل آدمهاش، به دلیل زبونش. همه اینا به هر حال کمک میکرده و دلایل واقعیش رو شاید اصلا نتونیم کشف بکنیم که چرا این کشوری رو ما دوست می‌داریم و یک کشور دیگه دفعمون میکنه به شکلی. انتخاب لوچینیانو هم به هر حال انتخاب من بود نهایتاً، ولی انتخاب من هم قطعا نبود. یعنی اولین بار خودم ندیدم، لوچینیانو رو توی فیلم نگاه کردم. وقتی کسی برای من مسئول انتخاب اولیه لوکیشن اون رو در ویدیو به من نشون داد، دیدم و پسندیدم، برای اینکه ده خیلی کوچولو و نقلی بود و کمک میکرد به اینکه من داستانم رو با تسلط و احاطه بر محیط بتونم بیان کنم، گم نمیشدم توش و برای این تماشاگرم توش گم نمیشه. بعد اینکه شما فیلم رو ببینین به نظرم چشم بسته میتونین لوچینیانو رو پیدا کنین، موزه ها رو ببینین و فکر کنین که اینها چه راهی رو قدم زدن. لوچینیانو از علاوه بر اون به نظرم خاطر انگیز بود. این مربوط به آدمای پشت دوربین هم البته میشد یه تیم فوق‌العاده صمیمی و مردم گرم لوچینیانو، برای اینکه اونها همشون جلوی دوربین ما بودن. یه فیلم فامیلی بود در واقع، مثل اینکه یک فامیل جلوی دوربین و پشت دوربین با هم دیگه کار کردن برای اینکه این فیلم در بیاد و باز از این نظر میتونم بگم یه استثناء بود. به حال جغرافیای یک فیلم، لوکیشن یک فیلم به اندازه پرسوناژها اهمیت داره.
The same road of the
Okay. Scusate, William, dovete andare, the way out is the direction of
The shooting was very relaxed. Everybody was working all the time, but I think Abbas gave his own personal pace, which is his own rhythm, which is very, very continuous, but not with up and down, very, very steady. And this is a big benefit.
Poi deve andare molto più piano. Ha capito?
The director gives the atmosphere to the shooting. And this one was really, 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 I mean, I wouldn't say cool because we were working, but relaxed, very relaxed. I enjoyed very much working with him. Personally, as a human being, and professionally as a soundman. I think anyone can relate personally to the subject of the film because it's the relation between man and woman. It's just not this man and this woman. At some point in the film, it becomes man in general and woman in general.
If you take, you see a little bit because you don't, you see a little bit.
Even this long shot, look at that.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Yeah. The details. It's like this, it's a detail.
She's more in front of her need of being with her. And he's more, hiding behind. And probably he's frightened of the weight of it, of having to deal with this woman. And the man is protecting himself with the rational aspect of his being. And she's more taking risks of being in a comfortable place and showing nakedly, her vulnerability and her feelings. And he said at the end, she's winning. She's waiting for him to give up, to giving in. And we don't know whether he's giving in at the end. But this difference that he could pick up and put in a film. And I thought, it's a generous film from his side, from Abbas.
پایان فیلم رو هم دوست دارم برای اینکه تعلیق قالب فیلم هامو داره. اینم یکی از شباهت های دیگه فیلم با فیلم های قبلی من، برای اینکه همه اونا بالاخره پایان قطعی برای فیلم نداره، همچنان که در این فیلم هم پایان قطعی نداریم. جایی که ویلیام از جلوی آینه میره، برمیگرده به اتاق و در رو میبنده و ما نمیدونیم که بالاخره خواهد موند یا خواهد رفت. اینم از نکاتی است که به نظرم مهمه در فیلم. به نظرم همینجور که هست باید قبولش کرد. لازم نیست که ما ایدئالی فکر کنیم راجع به کار در این حال که چیزی کم از ایدئال منم نداره. اما به قول بارومن فیلم که گفتش که ایدئال نون اگزیسته.